Hello there, BookTube. My name is Daniel. Welcome back to my channel, Guilty Feet. Can't stop now, don't you know? I ain't never gonna let you go. I've got no rhythm. And today I want to do a book review of a 2024 novel. I'm talking about Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. Not just Martyr, Martyr with an exclamation point, love punctuation in book titles and author names for that matter. I guess the reference point here would be wham, exclamation point. And this is a terrific first novel. Akbar, I believe, is a published poet, and there's always some concern about poets who go on to write novels, not always successful. I've said before that an earlier previous exception to that was Ocean Vuong's On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, which I love. But that has sort of more of a sense of poetry flowing through it. This is very much a novel, but the prose is clearly written by someone who loves words and is able to express himself in this long form, a prose way, in poetic ways. And so I think this is a very successful novel by a poet. I'm just reading, and I'll review it next week maybe, Salman Rushdie's memoir of the time he was stabbed, Knife, which is 200 pages, but early on he's talking about his current wife, who I didn't know anything about, and he talks about how he'd kept this whole relationship secret, and she is an American poet who they met, and he says, you know, she was, I think, at that point, a published poet and on the scene and well known amongst her contemporaries, but she tells him, and very early on in their relationship, she'd always wanted to write a book. And he says the thing that I felt, that, well, that doesn't always work. He says, for sure, novelists do not make great poets, and it's very hard for poets to make great novelists. And he's really worried at this early stage of their relationship if this is going to come to, because he's going to have to read her work. He's a very well-respected novelist, if you don't know Salman Rushdie. And he knows he's going to have to read her work, and the relief he has when he reads it and finds he thinks it's very good. So anyway, the whole thing about poets becoming novelists is not simple. I think Kaveh Akbar has moved into another format with huge success. Okay, a little bit about the story. Our protagonist here is a young man called Cyrus Shams, an immigrant to America, was brought to America by his father from Iran as a young boy after his mother has been killed in this tragic incident of a commercial airline. She was flying to Dubai or somewhere from Tehran, and the plane was shot down by American forces, and then there was a whole sort of apology and non-apology. And this is so Cyrus has this in the back of his head, that his mother was killed in this utterly meaningless way. And his father is a broken man thereafter, and brings him to America and lives a sort of fairly listless life, and later on died when Cyrus gets out of the home and goes to university. His father dies. So we meet Cyrus in his mid-20s. He's been to university. He's become addicted to various things, alcohol, drugs, just lived a life without ever grabbing on, and finding clearly very brilliant, and kind of wants to be a writer, and has studied and understood what he's studying, and a person moving in the world and wanting to become part of the world. And as we meet him, he's been in recovery for a number of years. This is not a story about his addiction, but it is a story about an addict and about someone in recovery. And when we talk about being a martyr, this is not being a martyr so that you can do harm to others. His quest, or his search for what it means to be a martyr, is about finding meaning in one's own life, and perhaps finding meaning in one's death. And he looks at the death of his mother as meaningless, and tries to understand that his father's life seemed to have very little joy or meaning to it. And this is a man having come through addiction, going to meetings, keeping in touch with his sponsor, having a small group of friends, and avoiding falling into the traps that are there for any addict trying to make sense of his life. It's a beautifully written, and I don't want to give any more plot away, because I think, how can I do it? I want to do this without giving plot away. I think one of the things it suffers from is small number of named characters syndrome, so that when something happens, it's very easy to work out who it's happened to, because we only know a small number of characters. Does that make sense? I don't want it to make too much sense, but because I don't know if it's supposed to be a reveal or if it's supposed to be telegraphed. I didn't think it was as big a secret as but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was supposed to be telegraphed. Maybe we were supposed to always have worked out what Cyrus works out. What this is, instead of being a book about, you might come to this and think Martyr and his name's Akbar. Wait, where do I know the word Akbar from? Just means great, and it's a fairly common Iranian surname, Akbar and Akbari. This is not a book about fundamentalism, about religion, about violence. This is a book about humans finding meaning. It's a book about connections. It's a book. I know I'm getting something. It's a book about love. It's really a wonderful human story. And maybe if some of it stretches belief, I think the writing here is beautiful enough. The just sentence by sentence, the prose here is exquisitely constructed. I think it's a young person's book. I think the author is a young person. I am very keen to see if Kaveh Akbar pursues a career as a novelist. I'm unlikely. Here's the thing. I get that he's a poet. It's not my realm, that I'm not going to go out and read poetry books. So maybe I would pick up one of his poetry books, but I'm not going to form a connection with him as a writer through his poetry. It's going to be through novels. This is a tremendous start, a great first novel. All the things that I complain about workshop novels and agents and publishing houses seeking people with ethnic names in order to be able to parade their diversity. And while this could be accused of all those things, it's not. Tommy Orange is blurbed on the cover, and in the acknowledgements, Tommy Orange is the first person named. I haven't read Wandering Stars. I read There, which I didn't love. Actually, since Wandering Stars made it to the long list, and what I've been reading about it, it's kind of made me interested in trying Tommy Orange again. But I think, in contrast to Orange's first novel, There, this is a work that transcends everything that the publishers love, and they love this. I'm sure somewhere, if you've seen American Fiction, when the character, when Monk tells them he doesn't want it, he wants to change the title of his book before they publish it to fuck, just as to have the most provocative in-your-face name. I'm sure, I've no doubt that some committee in whoever's publishing this, saw Martyr with an exclamation point and said, yeah, we want a book called Martyr, and we want it on the shelves. That's not what this is. I hope Kaveh Akbar gets read enormously because people are flocking to this because they think it's going to be something transgressive. That's not what this is. This is a beautifully written work of a first novelist who may have gone through some of those MFA programs but hasn't let them taint him. It's wonderful. It's about love. It's about humans. It's about finding meaning in life. And I highly recommend Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. Take care. God bless. Bye.